Help me reach 1,000 subscribes. Support the video with a like and leave your thoughts in the comments. I read every comment. Thanks. I never thought a single night could quietly erase everything I believed about us. Not with shouting, not with cheating. Just one choice that told me exactly where I stood. My name is James. I was 34 then, living what I thought was a stable, ordinary life with Elizabeth. We weren't flashy. We weren't dramatic. We were comfortable, and I believed comfort meant commitment. Elizabeth loved parties. I didn't, not in a controlling way, not in a jealous way. I just preferred quiet nights, routine, early mornings. She said I grounded her. I believed her. For 3 years, we balanced each other well enough. I supported her career. She supported my consistency. Or at least, that's what I told myself. The night everything cracked was supposed to be simple. A Friday, dinner planned, a movie already picked. She stood in front of the mirror adjusting her dress while I sat on the edge of the bed, tying my shoes. She smiled distracted and said, "I'm actually heading out." Jenna's birthday thing turned into a bigger party. I laughed, assuming she was joking. She wasn't. She grabbed her bag and said she'd be late. I asked how late. She shrugged. That shrug mattered more than words. It told me I wasn't part of the decision. I wasn't even a consideration. I didn't argue. That's important. I nodded. I said, "Okay." She kissed my cheek, already halfway out the door, perfume trailing behind her like punctuation on a sentence that had already ended. When the door closed, the apartment felt hollow. I ordered takeout for one, sat on the couch, and waited for a text that never came. Hours passed. Midnight, 1 a.m. My phone stayed silent. Not even a still alive message. That was when something shifted. Not anger, not jealousy, just awareness. I realized I was waiting in a life where waiting had become normal. If you've ever been a person left waiting, hit like, so this story reaches people who understand that feeling. She came home close to 3, loud, laughing, phone in her hand, scrolling through pictures she hadn't taken with me. I asked if she had fun. She said, "You should have come." The way she said it made it clear she didn't mean it. I went to bed without another word. The days after were worse than the night itself. She acted like nothing happened, like choosing a party over me didn't mean anything. When I tried to talk about it, she rolled her eyes and said I was overthinking. That phrase stuck. Overthinking. It's amazing how easily people dismiss your pain when it inconveniences them. I started noticing patterns I'd ignored before. How often plans changed last minute. How often I adjusted. How often she assumed I'd just be there. I wasn't unhappy. I was invisible. There's a difference, and invisibility lasts longer. One evening, I asked her directly if she still wanted this relationship. She laughed and said, "Why are you being so serious?" That laugh did something permanent to me. It told me my concern didn't deserve seriousness. Drop a comment if you think being laughed at during a serious conversation is worse than arguing. I didn't announce my decision. I didn't threaten to leave. I didn't demand change. I did something quieter. I stopped explaining myself. I stopped adjusting. I stopped being available by default. Over the next few weeks, I planned an exit. So clean it looked like nothing had happened at all. I transferred my half of the savings into my personal account. I updated my resume. I accepted a job offer in another state I'd been ignoring. I boxed my things slowly, deliberately, when she wasn't home. Every folded shirt felt like reclaiming oxygen. She noticed eventually, asked if something was wrong. I told her I was just busy. The truth was, I was preparing to disappear without drama, without a fight she could win by minimizing me. The last night I slept there, she was out again. Another party. Another shrug. I left a note on the kitchen counter. Not emotional. Not long. Just honest. I said I wasn't angry. I said I wished her well. I said I needed more than being optional. In the comments, type the word optional if you've ever felt like a backup in someone else's life. I locked the door behind me and didn't look back. At least not then. I didn't know how long I'd be gone. I only knew I wasn't coming back the same person. What I didn't expect was that disappearing would echo louder than staying ever had. And 2 years later, Elizabeth would finally understand what that silence meant. 2 years changed me in ways I didn't recognize at first. New city, new job, new mornings where no one shrugged at my existence. I rebuilt quietly. I didn't post about growth. I didn't announce healing. I just lived. That was the point. Disappearing wasn't about punishment. It was about choosing myself without asking permission. Elizabeth tried reaching out during the first few months. A couple of texts, one missed call. I never replied, not out of bitterness, but because I knew replying would reopen a door I had finally closed. Silence was the boundary she never expected. Life moved forward. I moved into a small place near the river, made friends who showed up when they said they would, dated slowly, carefully. I learned how peace feels boring only when you're addicted to chaos. With time, the memory of being optional stopped stinging. It became a lesson instead. Then one afternoon, 2 years almost a week, my phone buzzed with a notification I didn't expect. An email from Elizabeth. Subject line, "Can we talk?" I stared at it longer than I thought I would. Curiosity, not hope, won. I opened it. She wrote like someone who had practiced regret in her head many times. She said she'd grown. She said she finally understood what she lost. She said she'd been immature, distracted, blind. She asked if we could meet. Just once. I didn't respond right away. I went for a walk instead. Thought about who I was when I left. Thought about who I'd become since. I realized something uncomfortable. Her message didn't move me the way it once would have. That realization mattered more than any apology. Still, I agreed to meet. Closure doesn't always come from avoiding the past. Sometimes it comes from seeing it clearly. We met at a quiet cafe downtown. She arrived early. That alone was new. When she saw me, her face changed in a way I didn't enjoy or resent. It was recognition. She saw the distance. She felt it. She tried to smile. It didn't quite land. She talked first, said she'd gone through a rough stretch. Friends faded. Parties lost their shine. Relationships didn't stick. She said losing me was a moment everything slowed down enough for her to see herself honestly. She said she regretted choosing excitement over stability. She said she wished she could go back. I listened, really listened, not because I owed her, but because I could without hurting myself now. When she finished, she waited. The silence stretched. She looked nervous, vulnerable, human. I told her the truth. I said leaving wasn't about that one party. It was about what it represented. Being taken for granted. Being laughed at when I was serious. Being optional. I told her disappearing wasn't revenge. It was self-respect. She asked if there was any chance. Not now. Not later. Ever. I shook my head. Not cruelly. Not proudly. Just honestly. I told her regret doesn't rewind time. Growth doesn't obligate forgiveness. I said I hoped she'd use what she learned with someone else. Her eyes filled. She nodded. She said she understood, even if it hurt. When we stood to leave, she hesitated, then thanked me for meeting her. I wished her well. And that was it. If this moment hit you, share this story with someone who needs to hear that self-respect isn't cruelty. I walked out feeling lighter than I expected. Not because I won, but because I didn't need to win anymore. Closure didn't come from her regret. It came from my indifference. Later that night, I thought about how easily people mistake availability for permanence. How silence, when chosen intentionally, can become the loudest lesson of all. Comment below. Do you believe people only understand your value once you're gone, or should they know while you're still there? Let's discuss. Elizabeth didn't change everything by regretting her choice. She changed one thing. She confirmed I made the right decision when I left without a scene. Disappearing taught me this. When someone shows you where you rank in their priorities, believe them the first time. If you found value here, like the video, subscribe for more real stories, and comment with one lesson you're taking from James's journey.